What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Monday, January 27th, 2025, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 15:32 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from overseas. So, according to a press release from Japan's Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Japanese Air Force scrambled fighter jets last night after a suspected intrusion into Japanese airspace over the East China Sea. So we don't know yet if these were Russian intruders or Chinese intruders, but it was part of Japan's Western Air Defense Force. Okay, so the west side of Japan, some kind of an airspace intrusion. Now, we have some very concerning activity coming out of Russia and Cuba. So, late last night, this encrypted radio teletype continuous stream started on one of Russia's strategic forces radio frequencies for the Southern Military District. This frequency is also known as the PIP, and it's been broadcasting this encrypted radio teletype since last night, and it's actually still ongoing right now. This is very, very rare. This is for the Southern Military District. Let me play a sample for you. So you can think of this as just an encoded message. It's a continuous stream of information in Russia's Southern Military District for their strategic forces in the Southern Military District, which is the part of Russia from about Stalingrad south, and to the east you have the Caspian Sea, to the west you have Ukraine and the Black Sea, and then to the south the Caucasus Mountains. Okay, so that's where the Southern Military District is located, and that's exactly where Kapustin Yar is located, and Kapustin Yar is where Russia launched their ICBM at Ukraine from. Okay, so I don't know if this is related to a possible Oreshnik strike coming up soon, but this is very, very unusual and very concerning. And right now, as of 15:35 Eastern Time in the U.S., we have 2/3 of Ukraine under an air raid alert. And we also have some interesting activity here today over the United States by our strategic forces. So we have a Cobra Ball airborne over North Dakota, and Cobra Balls are used to detect and track missiles. And then we also have a nuke sniffer flying over the DC area. Now, what's interesting about this one is that it took off from Offutt Air Base, went to the DC area, and it was doing these loops here just to the southeast of DC for a little while, and it was flying really low, only like 2,500 feet. And now it has gained altitude and is heading west over the panhandle of Maryland. So this is very strange. I don't know if they were looking for some radioactive material here in the DC area. Very unusual. But also the Belarusian ruler Alexander Lukashenko said yesterday that he expects Russia to deploy their new Oreshnik intermediate range ballistic missile in his country very soon. We will get Oreshnik in the next few days, Lukashenko said at a press conference on Sunday. He said that an agreement had been reached with Russian President Vladimir Putin that the hypersonic missile would be delivered to Belarus before it was first stationed in Russia. Lukashenko said Belarus wants to host the missiles in order to protect against new U.S. medium-range missiles stationed in Europe. There was no immediate confirmation of Lukashenko's statements from Moscow. Okay, so this is very, very serious, guys. This is like a Cuban Missile Crisis situation. Russia is literally deploying nuclear missiles, nuclear hypersonic missiles, right on the border of Poland in Belarus. That is very, very provocative, guys. So we'll have to wait and see what Trump does, but I would not be surprised if we end up moving the Typhon system to maybe Poland or Germany, probably Poland, or giving Poland nukes, because Poland requested B-61 nuclear gravity bombs from the U.S. last year. So we'll have to wait and see what Trump does about this, but this is like a Cuban Missile Crisis situation for NATO, and the media is not talking about it, okay? Now, just want to explain some technical details. They mentioned a hypersonic missile. That's actually not true. A hypersonic glide vehicle. The missile itself is just the RS-26 Rubej, which is just a transporter erector launcher. It's a truck-mounted missile, and it's medium range. I think it can strike between 3,000 and 5,000 kilometers. Okay, but the actual warhead has the hypersonic warhead in it, okay, which is like a glide vehicle that can fly very fast and maneuver to, defeat air defenses like the missile defense that was put up in Poland and Romania, okay, the Aegis ashore. And what's interesting is the leader of Hungary, Viktor Orban, blocked a European Union statement condemning the elections in Belarus. So if you're not aware, the leader of Belarus re-elected himself with 87% of the vote. And Lithuania is reportedly strengthening its border with Russia using a large number of dragon teeth, which are anti-tank obstacles, and they plan to mine their bridges along the border with Kaliningrad. Now, they've already blown up a few bridges with Russia that cross over the river that borders Kaliningrad and Lithuania, but it looks like they're continuing to mine more bridges so they can blow them up, and they're putting more dragon's teeth along that river. They've put like hundreds and hundreds of these dragon's teeth and barbed wire. Okay, so Russia would have difficulty making landings on the other side of the river with equipment and personnel. This is very serious, guys, okay? We also have numerous sub-hunters off of the Olympic Peninsula in Washington. You can see here 3 P-8 Poseidon sub-hunters and an aerial refueler. So there could potentially be a Russian sub or Chinese sub here off the coast of Washington. And Washington is very strategic because we have our Trident missile storage facility here in the Puget Sound at Bangor Kitsap. Okay, the Trident missiles are the nuclear missiles for our subs. And then on top of that, we have 2/3 of our nuclear armed subs here as well. Okay, so the Russians and the Chinese definitely want to keep an eye on the activity here in Washington on our subs, what they're doing, how many are going in and out. And we also had a Russian airborne command post fly from Libya to Cuba last night. This is an Ilyushin 96-400 VPU. And what's concerning about this is basically like a Russian E-6 Mercury. This is a Russian nuclear war command and control plane. Why are they moving it to Cuba? Obviously, they must have some strategic forces deployed in Cuba and maybe Venezuela and the Caribbean region, and they're moving this airborne command post there in the event that they need to communicate with strategic forces in the region. So this is very, very serious, guys. We also had some Russian VIP planes and airborne command and control planes leave Moscow last night. One went to Siberia, one went north. Okay, one of these, specifically the RSD-135, is a Russian airborne communications plane. Okay, so Russian strategic forces were active last night, and this is in addition to the PIP, which was broadcasting the encrypted radio teletype so something spooked the Russians, or the Russians are about to make a move. We know that Ukraine launched another drone attack on Russia last night. The Russian Ministry of Defense said they shot down 32 Ukrainian drones. And then we also had a Russian open skies plane fly down to the Caucasus, and then a Russian emergency situations plane fly to Novorossiysk. This is interesting. Okay, the open skies plane is a plane that Russia used when we had the Open Skies Treaty, where they would fly over our missile sites and we would fly over theirs and collect data for treaty compliance. Well, we don't have the Open Skies Treaty anymore, but they still use this plane for recon because it has a lot of sensitive reconnaissance apertures, and they moved it to the Caucasus, which is very interesting. And again, this region is in the southern military district, so I don't know if they're going to be using it to detect Ukrainian drones. This is where Kapustin Yar happens to be located, and the southern military district. We had a lot of reconnaissance in Poland last night. We had a Polish recon plane flying along their border with Russia last night. We had a Swedish recon plane flying along the Polish-Russian border and the Polish-Belarus border. We also had a U.S. recon plane flying along the Kaliningrad coastline. And then we also had a Swedish reconnaissance plane patrolling the Kaliningrad coastline. And the U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth spoke with the Prime Minister of Israel and stressed that the U.S. is fully committed to ensuring that Israel has the capabilities it needs to defend itself. And American private military contractors were seen yesterday entering the Netzarim corridor in central Gaza following the withdrawal of Israeli defense forces. The private military contractors will oversee the return of Palestinians to northern Gaza while checking vehicles passing through the Netzarim corridor from south to north. So American military contractors deployed to Gaza to secure Gaza. And the U.S. is reporting its first outbreak of highly pathogenic H5N9 bird flu. And there were some new ICE raids in South Florida yesterday. Eyewitnesses saw ICE agents taking illegal immigrants to the Miramar detention facility. There were also some ICE enforcement operations in Austin, Texas, McAllen, San Antonio, and Houston, Texas, as part of Trump's push to crack down on illegal immigration. Assisted by the DEA and the ATF, ICE targeted potentially dangerous criminal aliens to ensure public safety and national security. So the ICE raids are ongoing, guys, in Texas and Florida, different areas, California. And there's been a lot of U.S. military activity in the Indo-Pacific recently. Several F-35s were deployed to Kadena. There have been elevated reconnaissance sorties and ISR assets moved into the theater. There was the first exercise with the Philippines involving a U.S. aircraft carrier. A U.S. Air Force B-1 bomber landed in Guam. The USS America and the USS Blue Ridge are now operating in the Western Pacific. There have been multiple exercises at Kadena, Yokota, and Misawa air bases. A fast attack sub, the USS Columbia, arrived in Guam recently, and there was a 4-day combined aerial exercise with South Korea. So a lot of activity in the Asia-Pacific region. And in response to the devastating wildfires in Southern California, President Donald Trump issued an executive order aimed at increasing water availability in the region. And Trump also issued an executive order establishing a review council for FEMA. And Ukraine struck a drone storage facility in Russia's Oryol Oblast and destroyed 200 Iranian drones, according to Ukraine's general staff. And here we have a U.S. Navy recon drone that's patrolling the coast of Israel and Lebanon and Syria. This was last night. And then we have this enforcement update from ICE saying that they've made 956 arrests and 554 detentions. Okay, wow. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with more breaking news, either as a video update or in the live chat. I will be monitoring the Russian and U.S. strategic forces I'm very concerned about that airborne command post going to Cuba. I'm concerned about the PIP broadcasting this continuous encrypted data since last night. So we know that the airspace over Kapustin Yar has been shut down until next week, so it's very possible that Russia could launch an Oreshnik strike. Remember, Ukraine has been absolutely pounding Russia over the last few days with these drone attacks. They hit that massive oil refinery twice, okay, in Ryazan. So Russia's definitely going to be looking for some revenge. But I'll keep you guys updated. Make sure you're subscribed. Also, make sure you have your notifications turned on. And also, I'm going to be releasing the NYPrepper app for Android very soon, probably later this week. And I'm working on having it developed for Apple. And this is a free app that you can download to your phone. And basically, when I post these updates, you're going to get an alert on your phone, and you can customize your alert. If you, let's say, only want to be alerted to my emergency updates, then you can set it for that. Or if you want to be alerted for everything I post, you can set it for that as well. So this way, we're not reliant on YouTube for notifications. If something crazy is happening, if there's another culinary night, if Trump and Netanyahu decide to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities, if Russia invades the Baltics, if Russia does an Oreshnik strike, etc., etc., and I go live and I'm covering it, I can send out a notification to your app and you'll get an alert on your phone, okay? So be on the lookout for that. I'll keep you guys updated. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP Shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP Shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video.